Hello, Kelly Bear here. Welcome to my channel. I'm with you today for a fun, well, I'm hoping it's going to be fun, tag. So yeah, I'm just going to get straight into it. So yes, here we are. This is a tag that I came up with probably a couple of weeks ago, and I've been really excited to share it with everyone. But I had plans for videos for the previous 2 weekends, and last week's, they were both sort of time sensitive, with one being favourites, so that has to sort of come at the end or the beginning, very end or the very beginning of the next month. And then I was putting out a walkthrough review unboxing of the Lilac Lenormand by Logan over at Lark and Legend, and their Kickstarter goes live tomorrow, so that will be Monday the 18th of September, so look out for that. So yeah, I had to sit on this one. Sounds a bit sitting on this one, but yeah, as you will see from the title, it's called 54321 Tarot. I'm hoping that's kind of snappy, and it's literally, we're going to be counting down from 5 to 1 different categories, and I have deliberately kept this quite open and flexible so people can tailor and just adjust it. I would, you know, this is for tarot, so preferably stick to tarot, but I know what you're all like out there in Tarot Tube. I know you like to bend and break the rules, so I'm pretty sure there are going to be those of you that are going to be bringing in some Oracle decks. You're going to be bringing in some Lennies. You might even bring in, I don't know, a playing card deck. I don't know. So I'm sticking to tarot because it's called 54321 Tarot, and I made it, so I'm sticking to my own rules, and I'm not cheating at all. I am genuinely sticking to all my own rules. I think this might be the very, very first time I've done that. I do have a cup of tea, a cup of chai. Oh, lovely. It's starting to get very dark and cloudy out there. It's quite warm still today. It's very muggy, it's very humid, but we are expecting thunderstorms, so that might start while I'm filming, so I'm really excited about that. Yay. And yeah, don't mind Dr. Nomi there. She's flumped out on the sofa because she's flumped out on the bed rather because she is pooped, because she has had her nice walk before the rain came, and she's had a snack, she's been walked, she's been fed, she's been walked, she's been fed, and now she's ready for bed. That didn't quite work. It sounded better in my head. Never mind. I should just bloody well get on with it, shouldn't I? What am I doing? I'm fannying about. So I'll give you a breakdown of what it is, and then I will give you my own answers to it. So it's 54321, and the 5 stands for 5 decks. If I'm looking down, it's because I've got my notes, because I do forget stuff, and I probably will still forget stuff because squirrel brain, but you know, here we are. And when I say I'm keeping it flexible, what I mean is that you can take that 5 decks, 5 tarot decks, but you see, I know what you're all like, as I said before, and that could be your 5 all-time favorite decks. It could be your 5 out of print decks. It could be 5 animal decks, 5 decks for spooky season, seeing as we are now, we're going to be going into October in a couple of weeks. So excited. It could be 5 indie decks that you have in your collection, 5 Pip or Marseille decks. You don't even have to own, maybe you own 1 deck, right? And you can still take part in this because you can pick 5 decks that you have on your wish list. Even you have 2,000 decks, you could still give 5 decks that you have on your wish list, or 5 decks that you have that you're excited about that are being released soon. I don't know. So you do you, right? So 5 decks, whatever that means to you, you do you. And I'm hoping that's going to have people coming up with some exciting responses to that. 4. What does 4 stand for? 4, like as if you don't know what 4 is. 4 stands for 4 books. So this could be guidebooks that come with tarot decks. It could be 4 books that you would just buy separately, independently in a bookshop. It could be 4 pieces of fiction that are either about tarot or that feature the tarot. I read a few months ago, I read Mexican Gothic, and that featured a tarot reading in it, so that would have been an example if I was going to be doing that, for example. Yeah, or you could do like a mixture. You could do 4, you could pick one from all of those, each of those categories of, you know, whatever. Again, you do you. Just 4 books featuring or about the tarot. Okay. 3, what does 3 stand for? 3 stands for spreads. 3 spreads that you love and like to use, or maybe it's 3 spreads that you have been eyeing up and have been wanting to try. It could be anything. 3 spreads. It could be 3 spreads that you've pulled off Instagram or Pinterest, or 3 spreads maybe it's one spread you've made yourself, one you got from a book, and one, you know, an old and tried and true like the Celtic Cross. You do you. 3 spreads. 2, this one is 2 because you can have 2, you can do 1 of each, or you could do 2 of one of them. And what I mean is, it's 2 tarot habits and or paraphernalia. And what I mean by paraphernalia is, what is the paraphernalia that surrounds you and your tarot readings? Do you always have to put your cards down on a spread cloth? Right? That's just a non-negotiable for you. Always want to put your cards down on a spread cloth. Maybe you like to light some incense, or you anoint yourself with oil before every single tarot reading. That's your habit and or paraphernalia. 2 of those, right? What else have I got here as examples? Yeah, you might have a specific way of shuffling your cards. Maybe maybe one of your habits is that whenever you get a new deck coming into your collection, you will always do a deck interview to check the vibes of that deck and how you think you're going to get on with it. Like that's what I mean. Habits and or paraphernalia. Again, you can do 1 of each, or you can just do 2 of one. And then finally, 1 stands for, and then you've got 2 options for this, but I do want you to just do 1. And you are 1 piece of advice regarding reading or learning the tarot, or something that you've learned, you know, in your tarot journey. Even if you are like an absolute noob, you have a piece of advice, I want to hear it. Yeah, I have been reading tarot on and off for over a quarter of a mother fluffing century. Like, I don't even, what even is time? And I am still always learning stuff about the tarot, and I feel like you've always got to keep your mind open about learning new things, even about things that I think I know quite a fair bit about the tarot, but also I don't know everything, and I will never know everything about the tarot. So I want to know what your advice is. Or other option, maybe you don't have some advice, or you just prefer this other option, which is choose 1, because 1, right? No cheating. 1 card in the tarot that either you feel embodies you as you are now, or a card that you would like to embody, card that you sort of aspire to, right? That you want to be. So those are your options. And then there is a bonus. There is a bonus 5, and that is tag 5 people. Okay, that's your little extra just on the end. Obviously you don't have to tag anyone if you don't wanna. It's you. So shall we get into my answers? So that's the breakdown of it, and I've got my answers written down here, and I've got my choices all out here. I'm going to have a sip of tea, because you know me. Oh, it's rhyming again. I have a terrible habit of letting my car go cold. I don't even own a car. What brain? Of allowing my tea to go cold. And nobody wants a fucking cold cup of English breakfast tea. Yes, I'm drinking it. English breakfast tea. Is it breakfast time? No. Do I care? Also no. Oh, I do love a good cuppa. Anyway, so let's get stuck in. So my answers, we're going to go with 5 decks, and obviously I gave 5 to the cards because that's what we're all here for most of the time, and so we wanted the most of which is 5 decks. And I decided to show you 5 unusual decks in my collection that I don't see very often in the sphere of tarot tube that I move in, because we always say the tarot community or the tarot tube, but you know, we always have to remember that we sort of, I can't think of the word. I'm having really bad brain fog today, so I will probably not be able to find words or use incorrect words, hence calling my tea car. We sort of populate, we are just inhabit the just a small little pocket of tarot tube, and there are various other bits of tarot tube that I don't know anything about. There's thousands upon thousands of tarot tubers doing all sorts of different stuff, but I don't see these ones very often where the places that I inhabit, is what I'm saying, because there's always one person who's going, well, I watched this reader and they like use this deck all the time, so I don't know why you don't see it. And it's like, baby, probably because I just don't know who that tarot reader is. It doesn't look like. Anyway, so in no particular order, I've actually just realised quite by accident I have laid them out from largest sized cards down to the smallest size cards, and I didn't even do that. Was the order that they were stacked on my desk in their boxes. That's quite funny. So the first deck that I'm going to show you is called the Templar Tarot, and I have to check the book that it's by Alan Chester and Stephen Dafoe. Now this deck, I got this years ago. I can't remember when I got this. I'll just show you the box, because it's not, again, it's not one that you see very often. And this is obviously, the clue is in the name, is based around, you know, the Knights Templar. And it's very different in a lot of ways to other decks, you know, because it's got a specific framework that it's working in. It does come with a pretty good guidebook, actually. And it's one that I've used on and off, but not as much as I would like. I think the older I get, the more I'm like, I need to start using more of these decks that I have. I do have a habit of grabbing the same decks over and over. I have been a bit better than that. I have been a bit better at that the last few months. I've been very consciously trying to choose decks and pairing decks up and trying to get more use out of my collection rather than just going to the old tried and true. Because, you know, you can get into habits. But yeah, anyway, so you want to see the cards, obviously. And this is a painted deck. It's very impressionist. It's really colourful. I mean, the light, let's see if this helps, if that helps. That's probably a, no. Oh, that's way too yellow. Ew, David. No, so it's a lot more, that yellow is a lot more neon in real life, but again, it's really tricky to get the colour right on a video. It's a lovely matte cardstock, but without it being sticky, like without that too clingy to itself rose petal type stuff. And the cards are actually quite large. Let's see how large. It's like how wide it is. 3.5 inches wide by 5 inches long. It's a right chunker, isn't it? But so the thing that makes this card quite interesting, other than the artwork being very beautiful, and obviously it has, you know, it's based in the Templars, so you know, you've got your angels and all that jazz in there, because again, Templars, the artwork is just, come on camera, it's quite something. And it's sort of, it's, you know, like look at the star. So it's clearly the star, but then, I mean, I love her outfit. She's wearing this like green trousers and tunic and then like a witchy hat, and she's got like a real intense smoky eye, and she's got red hair. She's got long red hair like me, but she's got wings, and I certainly do not have wings, unfortunately. But yeah, but you can see like it's sort of also doing its own thing. So the Five of Cups, and I must say, as my eyes are getting worse and I desperately need to go to the opticians and get a new prescription for my sunglasses, for my glassy, my brain is, for my glasses, it can be a little tricky to sort of get a handle on what cards are what sometimes, and then there's a load of extra cards. So you've got the majors, and then there's like this continuation of the majors, and so I can't remember, it goes up to 30 something, or I can't remember. We've got page. So 30, 31, 32, 33. Holy moly. There's like a whole bunch of... So there are 35 cards in the majors. So there are extra ones. So for example, 23 is Beatitude. And as you can see there's the 23, which it can be a little tricky to see. And then you've got the title here, Beatitude, at the top. Another one here is Discipline. Card 26, or Trump 26. Yeah, just really, really interesting. It puts me in mind a little bit, when, especially when you've got lots of these blues, it puts me in mind of the sort of Prisma Visions tarot. A little bit of Eads' style, but less... Eads is far more impressionistic. There's a lot more sort of... See here, this would be a lot more fluid in an Eads depiction. So we have Grandmaster, there's key 28. So yeah, Sapience, key 30. Yeah, so I thought actually, yeah, show you some of the extra cards, because I'm showing you unusual decks, and so this is some of the unusual cards. We have the Synthesis, card 31. Look at that skull cross, that's metal. Fuck yeah, love me some skulls. So, who says wearing a skull earring? Skull earrings and skull ring, I mean. So yeah, so it's pretty baller. The Devil's pretty cool. I mean, I kind of just want to hang out. Sorry, I can hear my tummy grumbling. So I apologise if you hear it. Not much I can do about it now. I started filming, I have to eat later. So yeah, so that's the first unusual deck in my collection. The next one, I will give a little content warning. This one involves nudity, predominantly, well, it is all femme, it's all women, naked women, but it is vintage photography, so it's late 19th and early 20th century photography, and it is, you might already know if you know this deck, it's Le Tarot de Femme Erotiques, and it never really says who it's by. It just says on the, oh, here comes the rain. Here comes the rain, doobie doobie. It says beautyhistorymagic.com. It doesn't have a name on it, I've looked. But yeah, I can't remember if this is an independent deck or if it's out of print, but it's really charming. And I only ever use this deck for myself. I have read for one other person with this deck, and she has this deck as well. So it was like, you know, a couple of my friends, London friends I mean, I know have this deck. It's quite saucy, but it's also it's quite charming. And I mean, I can see why this isn't a deck you would see very often on Tarot Tube, because, you know, boobs. And there's a nice bit of bush in this as well, actually. There's a little bit of bush. Bringbackpubes.com. Don't look that up. I wouldn't look it up. I was just... there probably is a website, right, called bringbackpubes.com, I bet you. Right, let's see if I can find... I'm now searching. I've come to the point where I'm searching for bush in my deck. So here we go. Here's some good... It's very sapphic. I just love it. I really love it. And I find it's just... It just does something for me in a number of ways. It is Bisexual Awareness Week. Next week, I believe, FYI, so just gal pals having a grand time shooting arrows, as you do in the nud. So yeah, I really love this deck, and it's a little unusual, I guess, and yeah, you don't see it very often. So those of you who did not want to see nakedness, you can, and had shouldered your eyes, you may now look back. I'm not prudish at all, really. I think it's good to break out of that sort of very what's that word, that sort of puritanical nudity mindset. And I mean, I did used to shake my tartars on stage, so burlesque, if anyone was like, what? I used to do burlesque. Okay, so the next one is the Vertigo Tarot. Did I show you the back? I did show you the back of Femme Erotiques, but the Vertigo Tarot is put out by the DC Comics Vertigo Comics branch, which is the branch that publishes Sandman, or published Sandman. And this is a deck that was gifted to me. Some of the cards are upside down. It does get a little confusing. They're all over the place. I think I was practicing with this one when I was using trying reversals a bit more again. It's very glossy, and it's got lots of sort of photo manipulation and collage, and I've never read Sandman. It also references other DC Vertigo comic publications as far as I know. This is out of print. This is the anniversary edition that came out late noughties, early tens. I can't remember, but yeah, my friend Tiggs gifted this to me very kindly a few years ago. I think it was January 2020 for my birthday, before the shit hit the fan. I mean, look, you see those eyes? It's kind of creepy. But yeah, I have watched the show Sandman. It's not really the same as reading it, but it's one of those things I've always meant to pick up and never have. I've read loads of like cult classic graphic novels back in the day. I read, you know, Preacher and Watchmen, and I used to like a bit of Transmetropolitan, Hellblazer, John Constantine, like a whole bunch. But I've never read any Grant Morrison, and I've not read Sandman. Obviously I've read V for Vendetta, like, I don't know. So yeah, it's just really interesting. I mean, you can really tell the ones because there's lots of flaminess. Very interesting. Here we have the Page of Wands. I feel like I'm not well versed enough in Vertigo comics to sort of really... It does have a guidebook, but it's just different, and you don't see it a lot. And again, I think the reason you probably don't see this a lot is that it is out of print. But sometimes it's just nice to show people interesting decks. I'm sure you can probably still get a hold of it somewhere. The next deck, okay, is also an independent deck. And it is the Holly Simple Tarot, and the person I've seen use this the most is actually Kellyanne Maddox, and this was gifted to me by a lovely lady, Anna Teresa, who's also a tarot reader and tarot tuber, Ladybird Art and Tarot, and it's just fun. It's very, very pippish. It's very clearly sort of based in Rider-Waite-Smith, because you know you've got the rainbow with the 10 of cups, whereas in like a classic Marseille you would just have 10 cups. But then, you know, it's just fun. I love the characters. And I think the first person I saw using this was Kellyanne Maddox. I can't remember if this was one that was stocked on Little Red Tarot by Beth Maiden. But I'm just going to pause because I've just got a message, but I'm wondering if it's my spouse. Hold on. It was not my spouse, but it was an important text message, so I'm glad I checked. So yeah, we have the two of wands. I love the little faces in the wands. Look at them. They look like microphones, or like drum. Looks like they're banging on a drum there. I don't know. It's pretty cool. The pentacles have these weird little... It's just sort of very... It has a sort of naive quality to it. Very hand-drawn quality to it, I mean. Look at the devil. What a cutie. Look at that. Those eyelashes. Fabulous. Crying though. This devil is sad. Someone's made the devil sad. It's just really strange but fun. And you know, like I said, I'm showing unusual. I mean, there we go. 10 of Wands. And I like the fairly pippish nature of it. It's very freaky. Lots of eyes. Lots of wiggly, weird, rainbowy. I don't know. It's just fun. So here's another one that's quite pippish. sequential Roman numerals. I love the 5 of Pence as well. I just like all the rainbow, this sort of colour, the colour pop of the rainbow against this sort of weird gnarly grey background and these weird grey faces with the one of them that's sort of dripping black ichor. Awesome. And then these ones have laser eyes. Let's see what else we got. Strength. So yeah, it's cute, it's fun. It makes me think of, it's like the Kitty Kahane, but like more out there. So if you can't get a hold of this deck, the Kitty Kahane might be sort of a bit of a compromise, because I know that got a reprint in the last year or two. That's mass market. That's a Fournier deck, I believe. And then the 5th deck that I'm going to show you I've had this for a few years again, and again I think this is a mass market deck, but I think it's out of print. Again, I can't remember. So I guess part of the reason these are unusual and you don't see them very often is that they are out of print. But this is the Tarot of the Silicon Dawn by Egypt Urnash. And Laura over at Aquamarine 18 was doing a video about queer decks for Pride Month, and one of the decks that they talk about in that video is Silicon Dawn and why they love it so much. And I was like, oh my god, yeah, I have that deck, and I was so overwhelmed because it's very chunky. It has a lot of cards. I think it has like 99 or 100 cards. And so it's sort of built in a way that you can keep all the cards in there, or you can take out cards that you don't want. I think there's multiples of like the Fool and the Lovers and stuff like that. It's very queer. It uses some really interesting techniques where you've got the print, but then you also have this like gloss embossing. Can you see that gloss embossing there? That little sigil at the top there, which is really cool. There's like a sigil on there. The artwork's sort of digital. Hence the silicon as well, and seeing Laura's video made me really like, oh yeah, I should pull that out. Interesting deck. Some of the cards are like just completely almost black or completely black, and some of them are in landscape. So here's a Fool, and she's got wings embossed in black. Can you see? There's all these like little extra bits if you look more carefully. And instead of a dog, we have this sort of little fiery salamander character. It's very comic booky, which I like. I really like this fortune. It makes me think of the fortune in the Fae Tarot with the black and the white. The Death card here. It's gorgeous. What a character. So yeah, we've got different options here, and then it has like what the card is in the corner. You can see a queen and then a Q. Sorry, come on camera. Oh, this camera, mother. 6 of Cups. Oh, I thought this was a Q. Oh my god. I really need new glasses, really badly. Need to get on that. So yeah, it's fun. It's fun. It's queer. I mean, it's a little racy. So again, avert thy eyes. It is comic book type boobs, but you know. I like it. I like there's lots of stripes and like checkerboard. So I have been, yeah, I was like, I'm going to get this one out. It has a very spring vibe to me though, so I might end up having to sort of put it aside for spring. I don't know why. I don't know why it has a spring vibe, but that's, no. I get that sometimes from decks. They're like, no, I don't want you to use me right now. like the Raven's Prophecy, I find I was using a lot through the winter and the autumn and the winter, and then as soon as it started to warm up, I put it aside. It didn't feel right. So anyway, I'm going to move on because that's half an hour of intro and then just showing you the decks, and I've got 4 other categories to get through. So I'll try and get this speeding up a bit. But you know, most of you are here for the decks, right? So 4 is books, remember? So again, you can do this any way that you want, and I really did sort of go back and forth on my choices for this. I was like, am I going to do like 4 workbooks that people can use, 4 guidebooks that I really enjoy from tarot decks, maybe a mix? And in the end, I thought I would try to be I'm doing a tag which is meant to be fun, but I'm going to try and be useful for people. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to recommend 3 books that I think are really good for people that are new to tarot. 1 for each system. 1 for if you're new to the Smith-Waite and you want to learn that. 1 for the Marseille and 1 for the Thoth. And then I will also show you 2 books that oh no, did I pick 5 books? Oh, it's 4 books. I've just realised. I thought I had. Okay, I'm going to have to pick. I'm going to pick one. I'm removing one. I'm sticking to my rules. I forgot I was meant to choose between 2. I was looking and there's 5 there. I was meant to choose between 2 intermediate books and I ended up putting them both in. But no, it's 4 books. We have 1 beginner's book for each sort of the 3 main systems, and then a more advanced, like intermediate to advanced book for people. So Smith-Waite, that's what most people want to jump in with. I'm really digging Tarot for Real Life by Jack Chanek. This was a new book out at the end, sometime at the end of last year. I read this a few months ago. I really enjoy it. I think it's really down to earth. It's really practical. It's laid out really well. It's got exercises that you can do along the way. And I think if you just sort of pick this up and work through it, it's a good jump off. It's got just enough information, not too much. It doesn't bombard you with exercises. It's a real nice balance, and I really enjoy the way that Jack writes. I've been reading his blog for many years at this point. So that's one of them. The beginner's book that I actually recommend to people if they want to get into pip decks or Marseille or both is actually Untold Tarot by Caitlin Matthews. I know most people recommend Year of Bendoff. That's the second book I recommend after you've read this. This is much shorter. It's much more succinct. It's much more punchy. It's really quick and easy to read. It's got, you know, it's handy dandy colour. Illustrations of all sorts of Marseille decks, French decks, Italian decks, and yeah, it's Caitlin Matthews. I mean, she knows her onions. It's got lots of handy charts that you can reference to, and it gives you more than one way of reading the pips or the Marseille. It gives you like the old school like fortune telling type of way, and then a more sort of number plus suit way. It gives you information on the open reading. It's really handy. I really rate it as a first Marseille book. And then for Thoth, I've got a few Thoth books at this point. I've got like, well, I've probably got 3 Thoth books, I think. But the one that I find is the most palatable is actually Milo DuQuette. I'm not the first person to say this for a Thoth. I know some people will say, oh no, I think that you should read Aleister Crowley first. But I would disagree. I think that Milo DuQuette is quite a fun writer. I like listening to him on podcasts. He's an interesting guy. He's written loads of books. He's sort of very interesting. He's taught Thoth all around the world, and yeah, interesting and fun. And then if you're like, I'm not a beginner, Kelly. I want to do more advanced stuff. And so I'm gonna say, my boy Tom Benjamin, your tarot toolkit. This is deliberately, specifically created for people that have got to a certain point with their tarot reading and want to take it further. And it's like a workbook. It actually does build on a lot of the stuff that you would find in Tarot on Earth with regards to like at the beginning with like numerology and elements and stuff like that. Sorry, I'm losing my words. But I like that it asks you lots of questions. I will say it's really handy because there's loads of space. There's loads of spaces that you can fill in. I don't write in this because I've done that before in workbooks, and then sometimes I've wanted to do them again, and then I've written in them. So I journal, and actually for some of these charts and questions I have Google spreadsheets. I love a good Google spreadsheet. Okay, so those are my 4 books. Now we're on to 3 spreads. The first 2 spreads are quite quick and simple. The first one is 3 cards, and it's freestyle, open reading, no positions, I just read it open style, and I do that with mostly when I'm reading Marseille, but I also do it with Rider-Waite-Smith. Sometimes I will apply a question or a position, but I mean mostly for the last, I realised this September, this month, I have been reading or started learning Marseille with gusto, like really set out to, because you know, autumn for me is like I go into study mode. It's that back to school vibe. That was when I really sat down with, I think it was Tarot and Earth, and started to put myself through my paces and really knuckle down with the Marseille. So it's been 5 years, so actually that's gone quite quick, and I'm like, oh, I'm still quite new to Marseille, but 5 years is quite a while, and that's on top of all the previous 20 years of like reading tarot. So yeah, so there's 3 cards. My second spread of 3 expands upon that, and that's 3 rows of 3, and that is we call the 9 card box spread or the 9 card portrait spread. Pretty popular with Lenormand readers, and I do use that. Again, I don't have positions. Sometimes I will assign for columns and rows, I might do past, present, future, or you know, assign meanings to the rows and columns, because you can do that with Lenormand, and I tend to use a lot of Lenormand techniques when using this 9 card spread with tarot, whether that's Marseille or Smithwaite or whatever. So for me, you know, what is pushing down on the lower cards, or the cards at the bottom, what are opposite corners. I can do knighting, which is sort of an L shape. If you don't read Lenormand, this is not going to make any sense to you. You know, what is in the middle, what is your sort of core card, what are at the 4 corners, all that kind of stuff. You can pick out loads of different information and read cards in different combinations. So you might be reading the same card within a reading, using this technique, multiple ways with different cards meaning different things. It's like loads of little readings within a reading, a bit like how you would pick out a 9 card portrait within a grand tableau with Lenormand. I'm picking out other little readings within a 9 card. It's sort of a reading within a reading. So I really like that if I'm looking at something a bit meatier. I don't know what to do. And the third and final spread that I'm partial to is a positional spread, and it is a Marseille reading spread thing, but again, you can use whatever deck you want, you do you. It is the Tirage en Croix, the tarot cross, the cross tarot. That's French, hence the Marseille. This is typically read with only the majors. But again, some people read with the entire deck, and some people will read with just the trumps, and then they will do a second pass to add additional information to 4 of the positions, or sometimes all 5 positions, with the pips and the courts. And I did draw up for you, because in case you're like, what the hell, Kelly, is a tirage en croix? This is a tirage en croix. It is a cross. We have, you know, the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And so the first card is the pros, or what is going for you, what is working for you on this particular topic. 2 is what is the cons, or what's going against you. 3 is like the advice, what or the guidance, or something that to do with regards to this issue. 4 is the possible outcome of the situation, and then the 5, I don't know if it's going to show up, but I've coloured it in. These 4 outer cards are coloured in a baby pink, but it's not really showing in my video, so I'm sort of losing the. Let's see if I turn the colour down a bit, it might show. The middle card is in neon pink, and the reason I've done that is that it stands out. This is the essence, or summary card, the synthesis card as some people call it. And that is because what you do is you take the 4 other surrounding cards and you add the numbers of that up, and then you pull the trump, the majors card that relates to that number. And so if you get a number that is more than 22, you would simply just add those numbers together until you get a number that correlates to the major arcana. So and that's quite a fun one, and there are variations of this, and I have used variations of this where you've got some extra cards and things like that, but I just wanted to show you sort of the original, and then of course people always have their own spin on it, you know. There's not much information in English out there still about the Tirage en Croix. Marilyn from Tarot Clarity did a really good demonstration of this spread on her channel. I will try to remember to link it below. And also Serge, who has, he doesn't really post on his blog anymore, I've noticed, which is a shame, but it's still really solid information. It's still up there. He still posts on Instagram, but his blog seems a bit quiet, but he's got some great information about the Tirage en Croix. He's got the Tirage en Croix, sort of the basic, and then he's got a post about revisiting the Tirage en Croix, and again I will try to remember to link those down below for you. So those are my 3 spreads. You can see I keep it quite loosey-goosey. I'm not massively into, I mean, on saying that, my daily readings have been 3 cards. I've been pulling 2 tarot cards and then an oracle card, and sort of reading them kind of open again with a question, but reading them open style. So that's my 3s. Now let's go on to my 2, which is 2 habits and or paraphernalia. Okay, so for me, I am going to give you 2 tarot habits that I have. One of them is that I tend to, and I think I saw a few people doing this, but most notably it was, again, Marilyn from Tarot Clarity, knocking on the deck before you pull your cards. So in the mornings, if I'm doing my daily reading, which I've been doing for a few months now, that's the habit I've sort of gotten into lately, and that will change. It will, you know, we move in cycles with our tarot reading habits for the most part. Well, most of us do. What I will do is I will take the deck, and I will knock on it to wake it up, and I will speak to it, and just say, you know, morning, whatever the name of the deck is, I'm awakening you today to ask you some blah 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 blah, and then I'll go into shuffling the deck. If I'm doing multiple readings, or if I'm like out having a coffee with a friend or whatever and we're doing readings, or with some friends, I will knock on the deck in between readings to like knock out, to clear out the previous reading. I'm still going to shuffle. I don't just knock and then draw or pull cards. But the knocking feels, I don't know, I just want to, like, it feels right to me. So I've been doing that probably since March last year, when I first stumbled on Marilyn from Tarot Clarity's channel. That's what I think, around when I discovered her awesome channel. And the other habit I have, I've always really enjoyed riffle shuffling, and I went through a phase of having a very set way of shuffling that involved 3 rounds of 3. I've kind of stopped doing that, so I will do overhand shuffling, depending on the size of the deck. This is quite a small deck. This is the Holly Simple. So depending on the size of the deck, I'll either hold it horizontally, but for the most part, I actually shuffle vertically because I have small hands and most decks are too big for my hands to do this the other way around. So I'll do a little bit of overhand after knocking on the deck. Then I'll do a little bit of riffle. Usually 3. I like to cut the deck 3 times, but now I don't stick to it having to be three rounds of 3 of like I would do overhand shuffling, riffle shuffle 3 times, split the deck 3 ways and put it back together, and I do that 3 times. But I realized sometimes it didn't feel like I was and then I sort of just shuffle, and what I used to do is like split the deck and then start pulling from there. But now I've got into the habit of sort of just going more sort of intuitively, shuffling a little bit overhand. I probably still do like 3 rounds of riffle. Sometimes I cut the cards, sometimes I cut the deck, sometimes I don't. And then what I tend to do after that is I just overhand until it feels right. And when I mean it feels right, I get like an intuitive hit. And the way I've noticed it works for me is I get tingles on down my arms, and or tingles along my cheekbones, sort of around my temples. It's really weird. When I get that feeling, I'm like, oh, and I pull a card. And sometimes I will do the whole, like sometimes I'll feel like I want to do a bit of riffling in between, but for the most part I just carry on overhand shuffling until I get a little tingle. And if I'm asking questions, I'll be asking a question, putting the card down, asking a question, or saying the spread position out loud, and then waiting for that tingle, and then pulling a card. And that's been the habit. Basically my new habit is I wait for the tingle. So yeah, knocking and a tingle, that sounds saucy. I like to knock and I like to tingle. Okay, and one, we got down to one finally. What are we, 44, nearly 45 minutes in. And I'm going to go with, because I had the two options, you could give one piece of advice, or you can pick a card that you feel depicts you, that you embody, or a card that you would like to embody, that you'd like to be, a card you'd like to attain. And this was difficult for me because there is a major arcana card that I really would like to embody, but it feels so lofty for me that I'm like, I'm nowhere near there yet. So I'm going to pick something that's a bit more attainable. And I've spoken about this before, and it's the Queen of Wands. This is the Queen of Bâton, Reine de Bâton, from the Tarot Clarity Tirage, which is a lovely French Marseille, modern Marseille. It's very fun. I've pulled this out, I'm using it next week. It's got lovely sort of autumnal tones with that orange in there. Apologies, just tea is starting to get a bit lukewarm. Yeah, the Queen of Wands, and why. I would like to know why you're picking the card, so I'm going to tell you why. The Queen of Wands. Ooh, it'd help if I had it the right way around. The Queen of Wands, because for the King, people say, well, why not the King of Wands? For me, I need to get to the Queen before I can get to the King. I need to embody her before I can get to him, or them, whatever way. It's just an archetype, but it doesn't have to have a gender. For me, I always feel like I am the Page of Wands eternally. Sometimes the Knight of Wands, I'm chasing those creative ideas. I'm like a dog chasing those creative ideas, but I never, I think it's like squirrel brain. I'm never settled in my, like, I never feel confident enough in my creative abilities. I never feel like I've mastered anything. I'm very much a jack of all trades and master of one, and I am aware the full idiom is a jack of all trades and master of none, but oftentimes better than master of one. And I do think having such a broad range of skills does mean that I can come at things from a different angle. I can think outside of the box, but there can also be a downside to that, which is that I'm never really becoming super proficient or really, really good at something. But I kind of have to make my peace with that. I'm just not wired that way, and I have to find a way to embody the Queen and have that confidence and that command of my skills in a way that works with the way that my brain is wired. There's nothing wrong with me. I have to realise there's nothing wrong with me, because for the longest time, there's something wrong with me. I just can't. I just don't have that staying power. I don't have the focus. I can't keep my attention. But it turns out it's probably the brain, and it's just wired differently. I can't help it. There are things that I can do to sort of alleviate that a bit or work within that, but I can't ultimately change the structure of my brain. So it is what it is. So, but yeah, the Queen of Wands, the Reine de Bâton. So that's my 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And I'm going to do the bonus bit. I'm going to tag 5 people. This is so difficult because I'm tagging everyone. All of my Tarot Tube pals, I'm tagging you. People I don't know, I'm tagging you. Newbies, I'm tagging you. Dyed in the wool, like decades long tarot readers, I'm tagging you. But in the spirit of the tag, I am going to just pick 5 I'm sorry for leaving anyone out, but by very nature of it being a numerical choice, I have to leave out. So I'm going to tag my dear friend Simon at the Hermit's Cave. I'm going to tag T over at Cosmic Creepers Tube. I'm going to tag Anna, Astral Lady Tarot. I'm going to tag the lovely Logan at Lark and Legend. And I'm going to tag Renee of Project Refined Life. There are so many other people I could tag, but I have to stick to 5, and I just literally, and basically I ended up doing like a bit of a draw myself in my head because there were so many people, and I was like, I just need to randomly pick 5, so I just put my finger over them and picked 5, and that's how it happened. So yeah, I want to know, what is your 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 tarot answers, or what are your 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 tarot answers? Did you enjoy this tag? Is it fun, or is it a bit pants? I thought it was a good idea, but like, you know, I might be very, very wrong. I'm hoping it's fun. I'm hoping it's got legs and arms and a head, and they can just go running off. Yeah, I want to know. I want to know your answers. And if you don't have a tarot channel, if you don't actually make videos but you do watch videos, feel free to join in down below. Even if you are someone who likes to watch but doesn't make, I want to know your answers. You can still join in. That'll be great. I'll try to link all the things down below, the books that I mentioned, the decks that I mentioned, the videos that I referred to, and the blogs that I referred to. I'll try to remember to put that all down below for you in the description box. But I really appreciate you taking time out of your day to watch this video and or listen to this video. I really, yeah, it means a lot. I love the interactions in the comments as well. That's why I do this, for the, like, just interacting with folks, right, and just being nerdy about tarot stuff. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this. I hope wherever you are safe and you are well. And yeah, thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Ciao.